are talking about sometimes when we get into side control, I want this. But sometimes opponents will have their hands T-Rex in boxing hand position. So the minute I start to try and win that underhook, Matthew's got this, his left arm kind of primed in here. So I am going to begin the underhook, but technically having the underhook, I would need this arm here for me to have the underhook. Let's look at attacking this arm in two different ways. So we talked about how when I was in super chill, if Matthew turned onto his side and got that elbow in, and he's more here, I could turn my hip, and my left hip is going to push his right wrist into the shoulder to put pressure on it. His reaction will be to straighten his arm, and then I'll pluck it, and we're back in. We can do that exact same move on this arm. So say he's in T-Rex position, I make the beginnings of an underhook. His arm is more here, framing. So again, from there I'm going to put pressure with my left shoulder, and I'm going to push the back of Matthew's left hand into his left shoulder just by doing that. As he straightens, my left hand catches, pushes it behind, and now I'm back into super chill. So again, one more time on that. I begin the beginnings of an underhook. I start to put that pressure on. The minute he straightens, I just push it behind, and I'm back into super chill. The second option from here is sometimes I'll go for more attacking the Americana if his arm isn't just in here, if it's more sort of at my throat. And again, it's a sound enough strategy. He could be driving me back, hip escaping out and trying to put me back in the guard. So again, I don't want him pressing into my larynx, so I can look towards his legs or I can look towards his head. So now it's on my jugular. Once I'm here, I'm going to start smearing it. Okay, so I'm using my jugular and my upper chest to smear this arm towards the mat. My free hand is going to go on the back of my head, and as I push, I put my head on the mat. Once I'm there, I just swim. I have the Americana. I bring my right knee into his right hip, and there from there. So again, one more time on that, especially if he's really framing here. The other thing his escape is to be putting me back in the guard. So if I'm more in side control and we're here, I know as he starts to frame, he's turning his hip, so I'm putting my hip on his hip. And again, once I start to smear this towards the mat and I feel him trying to put me back in the guard, another thing I can be thinking about is using my hip to turn his knees away from me. And now from there, when the moment's right, we just smear that to the mat. Head on the mat's everything. The minute I get to there, my right knee is wedged into Matthew's right hip, just keeping him corralled in that position. I'm going to windshield wiper, and now we have the Americana from that position. So again, strategy, if they have their hands in that, one more thing we want to be thinking about, if they have their hands in that sort of boxing hand or prayer hand position, anytime we're here, especially if it's in the throat, okay, and I start to look away and I'm driving forward, anytime my arm comes across, I am susceptible, okay, to that push, yeah. What's the name of that escape? The Heisman escape. So again, if I'm here and I'm smearing and Matthew starts to push, we've already covered this, I'm just going to step over his head, and now from there, foot comes back, I have that step over arm lock. So just using something that we covered in an earlier vid. So that's dealing with the T-Rex hands from side control.